So I rewatched Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse the other day, and besides its fantastic animation as well as an incredible score, its story stood out to me, especially as I had just watched Spider-Man Far From Home, which was lacking for me somewhat. What Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse did well is its climax, and the culmination of all the lessons learned. Here is a protagonist in traditional narratives of lessons they have to learn throughout the story. This allows audience members to understand the growth they've been on and admire how far the character has come. For the most part, this is a crucial part of superhero storytelling, and although in some cases the narrative structure does become a bit tiring, after 22 films for example, it's the easiest way to make a character likeable and more human. In some cases, when this structure is not applied, it makes characters unlikable and unrelatable. One film that fell at this hurdle was Captain Marvel. Throughout the film, the constant message is to always stand up in the face of adversity, and to always stay true to yourself, which is a fine enough message, but the lessons to be learned for Captain Marvel in this film are that she is powerful, and she should no longer be held back by authority figures in her life, as well as oppressors. The lesson she has learned is that she was perfect the way she was before. She hasn't really had much growth within the film. This leads audience members to feel disconnected with the hero, as she is relatively without flaws throughout the film, making it harder to relate to. Another issue with Captain Marvel that's been raised by story writers is that she falls into the Mary Sue bracket, which, if you're unaware of what a Mary Sue is, it's a female character who has no flaws and is very much perfect at everything they do. I disagree with the whole Mary Sue debate entirely. I think it's unfair that other characters like Rey in Star Wars are also dismissed due to their pigeonhole nature of the online community. Where a male equivalent of Mary Sue does exist, in a Gary Sue, male characters who could be fit into this character aren't really given enough criticism. What Captain Marvel failed to do was to set up any lessons for a character to learn from. Instead, they insisted that the character had all these capabilities and charming personality traits from the very beginning. Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse is a story about how Miles Morales has to learn to become a hero, after not wanting to be one in the early acts. Throughout the film he's been learning some quite literal lessons and some the audience may not have noticed. In the final fight, all these lessons come into effect. Now, if you haven't watched Spiderverse yet, I'd recommend clicking off now, just because I'm going to go into spoilers, and I really do recommend this film. So here I go. The first lesson we see Miles use in the final battle is the swinging that Peter B. Parker taught him earlier in the film. Although this one is quite a subtle one, it really shows how far Miles has come and learnt throughout the film.
Doing it! Double tap to release and whip it out again.
Okay.
Whip and release. And whip, release. Whip and release. You're a natural. Whip, release. Feel the rhythm?
Although Peter B. Parker wasn't a very committed teacher, he still taught Miles all these lessons, without spelling it out to him, avoiding exposition and all other rubbish.
Look, I made a promise to him.
Here's lesson number 1, kid. Don't watch the mouth. Watch the hands.
Let's end this thing.
Guys, I got it.
I'll go. I'm the one with the goop. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Don't watch the mouth. Watch the hands.
In the next part of the scene, Miles takes the goober to the roof in a theatrical fashion. Gwen and Peter ask each other if they taught him that.
It's crazy. Now, we taught him that, right?
I didn't teach him that. And you definitely didn't.
They didn't. However, we have seen it before, and know that is something that Miles has learned. He learned it from the original Peter Parker. He does a very similar stunt just before his death. Although he wasn't around for very long, he still managed to teach Miles something. The final fight is a summary of all that Miles has learned. He picks up Peter the same way Peter had done to him previously.
But I'm ready. I promise. It is okay. You gotta go home, man.
He then uses the shoulder technique that his uncle had taught him earlier in the film.
Find that girl. You walk up to her and be like, hey.
You serious, Uncle Aaron?
I'm telling you, man, it's science.
So walk up to her and be like, hey. You ever hear the shoulder touch?
What?
Hey.
All in all, Miles has learnt throughout the film, grown exponentially from the beginning, from a child not interested in becoming a hero, into Spider-Man. In fact, Dr. Octavia summarises perfectly. When she first sees Miles in this full suit, before she referred to him as Little, now he is referred to as Spider-Man.
Miles? Spider-Man? Wow, Miles! You're doing it on command!
In contrast, Captain Marvel learned that she was right the whole time. She always had these capabilities and powers. They weren't earned through learning, they were just being restricted by the people trying to control her. A good hero should grow. They should have flaws, and they should learn lessons. And that's exactly what happens in Spiderverse. A culmination of a perfect hero story. If you enjoyed this type of video, please let me know in the comments below. Maybe consider subscribing. I also would like to recommend a few videos for you quickly. The first is The Sound of the Spiderverse by Sideways. It's a very interesting video about the score of the film and all the leitmotifs and stuff that they give the Spider-Man characters. Also, please check out my good friend Ted's new video on Spider-Man Far From Home. He's a very funny guy, and his channel is Tedward318. Both these videos will also be linked in the description, so please do check them out. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.